This enrapturing jubilant occasion of the golden jubilee of the institution, it is indeed very admirable that a spiritual guide has been selected for addressing the public. It is the student community, those who can imbibe the essence of the material as well as the spiritual values of our traditional heritage, so as to apply it for their academic excellence, professional upliftment, social dignity design, and as a result producing national prosperity and global harmony. And then just as I have already discussed and decided to render about the stories and basic ethical values of truth, non-violence, other things, there are a lot of sources. The compatibility of spiritual learning and practices towards the molding of a person's academic status will be my today's lecture. As you are all oriented with the science of resources, the science of study of resources. The study of resources, they are of different types. We have the resources in the form of human potential on the basis of the person's efficacious implementation skill, and we have material resources like mineral resources, and also immaterial, that is paramaterial resources like energy resources. Then we have material resources in the form of various other products such as food, water and other things. So the various resources and the types, they have to be properly recognized, extracted, purified, processed and distributed. And this type of system must be made sustainable and perennial. And this is the science of resources. And economy is the study of resources. Even though economy is something dealing with fiscal management and policies, it is based on the natural resources. The semi-subtle resource is what we call energy resource, and the subtler resources is what we call the resource of human potential, and the tangible resources are the material resources in the form of materials, ores, minerals and other things. So different types of resources and different patterning sciences. Economy deals with the study of the resources, and commerce and trade, they deal with the study of channelization of the resources for even, equal and effective distributions. And based on this, the governance of this distribution system is by management studies. And first came the economy, understanding of the resources. Second came the commerce and trade, the process of distribution of the resources. Then came the management science. In order to define this thing in a very apt way, the seed of the economy, that has a branch, rooted, germinated, sprouted out and branched into the form of commerce and trade, which are then blossomed into the greatness of management sciences, which are then fructified into the various schools of management and systems that exist now. It is how the history of management started. Then regarding management, as I already told, whenever something is to be extended through human beings, it is human resources, through international relations, that is foreign trade, through banking progress, that is known as banking administration, through IT, it is IT administration, fiscal policy, market strategy, market survey, trend analysis, risk analysis, crisis control, personal analysis, infrastructure management, product definition, alternative suggestion, substitution management, innumerable divisions, thousands of divisions which are about to come in the former decades, as well as the following decades. They have to be taken into account as a lineage of growth. The former decades, now we know that now there is hospitality management and tourism, hospital management. Now we have started a course, with our guidance, they have started a course on life management for 1 year. And the Kuala Lumpur University, they have requested us to frame a course material for temple management. So if there is management, everything must be there. Even house management is an art and science. If it is not properly managed, and wherever the areas you will be managing, you cannot manage with comfort and ease. So sentimental management, self-governance, emotional balance, character management, career management, individual person's molding is also based on management studies. And there will be, these things are already taught by various things. They are transferred by the genes of our forefathers. They are nourished by the lactation of our mothers. They are cherished by the able guidance of our masters and parents. These things are now being put in such a pitiable status that separate course must be taught. Even you have to teach a course, start a course and teach how to behave with your parents and how to live your pets. Even for small things, the era has come for designing courses and for establishing research institutes for even normal things which are instinctive or can be governed from the lineage of your parents and from the patronage of your education institutions and tutelage. So it is the era of course material, syllabus, classroom, examination, results and certificates. It has been confined to such a very pitiable, despicably deplorable status by which now we are dealing. Even if it is not that, it is worse than the worst. That's why it is better to have worst instead of getting it worse than the worst. So it is very admirable and acceptable. So in this area, we have developed lot of other management sciences which I have told now. On the basis of this thing, now taking into consideration the students available here, their mentality, the rate of attention, the rate of taste towards the subjects and fluency and torrentialism of conceptive placement. See, there is something. Whenever there is a celebration, they will be interested in recreative environment, not creative environment. That's why a lot of things are there. The second deficiency is we cannot output everything, and even if it is turbulently charged, the receptivity level of the people, the admirants and the aspirants of knowledge, that is too limited. And too much of concepts, very much with a great speed, as well as without any intermittent gap or diversion. If it is showered, it is very difficult and it is monotonous also for the people to observe. Till I try to put it the most possibly palatable as well as simplified manner within the ambit of my lore and presentation skills. These commas we have taken as a base, and everything I have already told, whatever you may be taking like bank management, business administration, foreign trade, international business, human resource management, IT management, market study, you may be blossoming into various sections. Everything is based on resources. Resources identification, distribution and the sustainability. These things are the three major pillars of these sciences, on the basis of which let us come for carrying what you are going to do and what are the factors that you are going to see. The world that you are going to see is not only with work but also with wrath and risk. The world is not just as you imagine. Wherever you see, you will be having your parents who will be very obedient to you rather than being vice versa. You will be having some school or places wherein there will be a limited approach of control towards you. Whenever you are exposed to the world, you must be taught the values of how to govern yourself on contrary circumstances. If favorability is only taught either with the school or with domestic circle, the persons are going to suffer indubitably in the society. The society will consist of wolves, jackals, tigers and all other ferocious and venomous elements. If you are taught in a very placid atmosphere, in a pleasant atmosphere, just to admire love and affection, just to engrace yourself and engross yourself with the fruits of affection in the form of gifts and tokens, it is not there in the world. The world will throw you away, it will trample on your brain, it will just collide on your heart and throw your emotions away. Unless you are taught the skill of self-management and withstandingness with endurance, patience and understanding, you are going to face a very great successful failure in your lives. So apart from that, it is not a sense of discouraging the students as well as it is not a pessimistic approach also. It is the real value of teaching, also the alternative possibilities. That type of withstandingness is governed by moral acceleration, ethical upgradation and also by spiritual moorings. Ethical, moral and spiritual moorings. Ethical is something on the basis of instruction. Moral is on the basis of instinctive. Spiritual is on the basis of intuitive. These three forces are going to guide you which to make understand the public. And whenever you are thrown away like a rubber ball, you can have your own reverberation, you can have your own reinstalled status enthroned with success. These possibilities are our duties from our side to teach you. And all the other treatises with English or Marathi translations are very much available in shops and there are a lot of people who do that. So after studying this thing, what are the opportunities for you in your life? Number one, somebody finishing this, they may go for company secretaryship or they may go for any auditing or accountancy services. Number two, for business administration. Number three, for general consultancy services. Number four, as business magnates, they are going to shine. Number five, they may also be having some sort of joint partnership or moving with somebody else to establish their own empire of trade. So depending upon these variations, at this age itself, at this impressionable, decidable age itself, career designing is very essential. You must decide what you are going to become and you must move your platform according to your desire and ambition. If the dream must be fructified as reality, then the dream must be assisted with the truth, sincerity and able practice. Mere dream without any assistance shall end as mere dreams. Then we are going to deal with some basic facets of this knowledge of business as per the Vedic school of thought. Number one, it starts with exchange. There are two instincts within the human beings. What do you want now? Do you feel anything humorous here? There are two instincts of human beings. When they want to distribute, I already told distribution, whenever they want to distribute, the distribution on the basis of any expectation, that is known as commercial or profitable instinct. That which is without any expectation is known as charitable instinct. They do have two types of instincts. Depending upon the generosity and curiosity, basic instincts of governance, they will have either the transaction on the basis of expectation or without any expectation. With expectation is known as exchange, and that is commerce. Without any expectation is spiritualism or charity. They must go together. If there is no input at all, mere output will be very dangerous and unimaginable. Unless you have profitable ends, you cannot go for charitable benefits. So, the trailer or the parallel pathway of human life is both the instincts of profitability and charitability. So, a portion of your profitability or a reasonable share of your profitability, either destined by any of your progressive mode or by your munificence or emergency, can be designed on the basis of proportions. For example, religious treatises, they show some proportion for rendering towards charitable purposes. So, the charitable purpose which is rendered for the upliftment of the co-members of the society, that is also an investment, prudential investment, invisible investment for commercial development. Whenever you develop something in business, we used to get into investment and we used to think that it is going to give us fruit. There are a lot of things. Even though if some things are invented, innovated and invested, we are seeing that they are entering into futility. Just as even though if we invest in business, something results in futility, even though if we don't directly invest in business but invest in charity, that will indirectly give you investment. Like as invested thing may result in futility, and uninvested direct or indirect charity or indirect investment, that will result in utility. Both of these things are possible. So the ancestors, they have made dhanam dhanaya, two things, charitable instincts. Why charitable things are done? Because there are four forces hindering commercial development. One is natural disasters, and second is misutilities and lack of proper utility planning and execution, and third thing is by geopolitical and geoeconomical variations, and fourth thing is by other physical as well as mental, intellectual disabilities which may distract your business, professional skill or execution. So all of these things can be prevented, mitigated or properly channelized in the path of a protective way if the commercialization is governed along with or coupled along with spiritualization. So spiritualization does not denote only showering some milk or honey on the idols or conducting procession and other things. That is also a type of thing for productivity, by which the personified form of God is adorned by our gratitude, sincerity and love, apart from which the Pratyaksha Rupa, what we say, those entities, the co-denizens of the earth, they are also personifications of the same God who resides in all of these beings. So certainly service to humanity, especially to the suppressed as well as the downtrodden members of the society, that is also a divine charge and service. So likewise we have to govern with these two things. And if it is that assisted with this profitability along with the charitable nature, unwanted, for example, I used to say, those who refuse to give something to the poor when they cry for, those who refuse to feed the hungry when they crave for, those people no doubt they will pay with penalty to hospitals for their medical expenses, to their automobile centers for vehicle expenses, and towards their futile children for education, training and tuition expenses. So God is a perfect accountant and a greatest global company secretary, and you cannot just escape or evade the divine rule and the divine accounting sensation by means of your so-called parsimonious nature or so-called calculative nature of your limited mind and skill. So the first thing is, there are two types of markets, the transient and steady market. Number one, it is very important to know this. Major 14 units of business as per the Vedic school. You know that Arthashastra, the study of economy, the study of wealth, is a part of Veda, and it has been done earlier more than the normal other new schools of thought, the Middle East or the Western economy, the so-called bullion economy, the so-called dollar economy. These things are very neonatal status, that status is. And the ancient Arthashastra that deals with the steady economy as well as transient economy. Then there is a dependent cycle. You must understand a dependent cycle. What is transient and what is steady? Steady economy is an economy which is reliable, which is investable. and a transient economy is ephemeral and it is capricious in nature. So a person before entering into any study or execution of business, they must understand about the steadiness of economy. So economy or commercial status, as per your bookish knowledge, that exposure is very limited for three reasons. Number one, your books are of the same syllabus of 1985 with few additions. All the teachers may not be the students, as well as the policy makers of the institution, they better know this. They have not been updated and upgraded. And comparative study of the global thing and specification methodology of the person's indigenous nature must be implemented in education syllabus. There are two things. You have to see a comparative study of all nations, their eco-atmosphere, their ecosphere, and their economical status and stability. Number two, you must learn it as a common thing and you have to adapt it for your specific backgrounds. The Indian atmosphere, the mentality of the Indian human potential, the nature of work, everything is different from that of the UK or Middle East or somebody else. So we have to adopt everything from the global sources and we must tailor it as per the requirement of our Indian mentality as well as the productivity possibility. So these two things are that we are neither taught about the foreign or other things, or even if they are taught, their situations are directly adapted. We are getting into the shoes of those people and we are in more times altering our feet as per their shoes. That is the problem with the syllabus. So first try to start. This is a small opportunity given to me for 1 hour at least. I think that you have to expose the skill or the talent of your patience and tolerance. So if it is taken as a separate syllabus, for example advanced commerce or advanced economy, we are having applied and advanced. These prefixes are there in all syllabi now. Advanced, para, psychology it came, now it is parapsychology. Then statistics, applied statistics, economics, developmental economics, applied economics, then para-economics, then onto-economics. Now recent inventions are there in various fields. Likewise, apart from your bookish syllabus, what is there happening in the world and how it can be adapted to our own country, that must be taught as a separate syllabus or one day conference must be conducted for that. Second thing is dependent cycle. For example, if you are dependent on a milkman, and the milkman is dependent on his cycle and the cycle is dependent on the tire and its air inside. So if the air is not there and if there is no puncturing possibility also nearby, if it is punctured, then milk is delayed, then it is for the child. It is a small example for that. So dependent cycle, you are not independent in the world. You may think that you are independent. You are having a global dependence of various people directly and indirectly. For example, if you trace, there are two things. One is bioarchaeology and second is bioconnectivity. If you don't know, that is, for example, if there is Rockefeller, if there is Bill Gates, you may not be directly knowing him. But if you take your bioconnectivity, at least in the 50th stage, you will be connected with Bill Gates. You will be connected with any person, Osama bin Laden here. This is known as bioconnectivity. Whether there is mutual identification, acquaintance, reality, intimacy, fraternity, or not, that is questionable. But bioconnectivity, bioarchaeology is a new subject, and the University of Leeds, the Department of Genetic Engineering, they traced a person's bioarchaeological status. He paid some £1 million, and you were shocked to see that he is the descendant of Genghis Khan, and he was now lamenting why he has paid millions of pounds to know that. Now this is the thing. So we are connected. It is known as dependent cycle. You are dependent on various people with mediate, immediate, and remote cycles. So unless the other things, you cannot just independently exist. Unless you take care of all of your dependents and surroundings and see the harmonious development of all of these people, you cannot develop separately. So dependent cycle is a different subject. Whatever I am saying here is worthy to be conducted as a separate seminar. It is not a joke or time passing. That is that. And the third thing is, apart from a dependent cycle, there are direct and indirect influence. That has been already explained in this subject. Somebody having direct contact or direct impact. For example, whenever there is lorry strike, it is not only a problem of transportation. Transportation deals with commodities. When commodities are not properly given, it gives a sort of a shock to the society in which the stagnated commodity that is hidden by these people that has boosted prices. Not only non-availability of commodities, but also hike up prices of the commodities. Even at that time, there are some timings. This what we call ecospatial analysis, in which there is a timing for which even some unwanted mud becomes gold, and there are some stages of scarcity in which mud becomes gold, and the stage of overabundance or hyperabundance. We have seen some cases at Pollachi here, which is a very agricultural place. Lot of tomatoes in lorries, they were thrown in the road, and being smashed by the transportation. So there are situations which make mud gold and gold as mud. So this type of indirect and direct impact of the systems of, for example, production, then production stocking, then share broking or exchange, then it is for transportation, then it is for retail and wholesome sale, then it is for consumption bias. If each and everything must be properly harmoniously governed, there must be an integral system. If each and everything is affected, even a small affecting a particular situation, that will result in the total turmoil of the existence itself. So this indirect and direct is very much essential for that. Then there is a productivity and distribution, which I have already told. That is also a subject. Demand and supply, which is included in productivity and distribution. There are three major things which you want to study: import, export and indigenous nature. Certainly we are having already told that we are dependent. We are unidependent and omnidependent. So at this stage of dependence, certainly we have to import something and export something. It is a way of global sharing, but that must not affect the indigenous heritage as well as labor status of the nation. Wherever these import, for example, whenever something is imported from a nation, even for making a ball pen, lot of cottage industries and local indigenous centers, they are totally affected. So there must be a proper tuition to the society, not only to the academic society but also to the business society, to manage a harmony between import-export ratio as well as the indigenous production and the laboratory assurance for those people, those who are totally dependent on those industries. That must be assured. See, we must not develop a nation developing few countable people. I told you in an India seminar, they organized a seminar and somebody was talking about development. They are telling that large buildings are there, tall structures have been constructed, and BMW has installed its office, Rolls-Royce and Bentley car, they are going to open their assembly centers here. It is not a good symbol for development. I told that, respected sirs, India has no doubt won in her beauty contest, but in the medical report she has failed. So whenever it is there in poverty, then infant mortality, malnutrition, rural development contingencies, a lot of other problems in education and employment sources. Unless these things are evenly distributed, seeing some buildings and seeing some people moving with cars, a group of people, rich people becoming richer and richer becoming richest becoming ever richest, it is not a healthy economy by which export and import along with indigenous economy must be balanced. And these subjects are not very elaboratedly, elucidately dealt in the syllabus, which requires updatation or upgradation. We are neither power makers nor policy makers. We are just orators, and it is our duty to disseminate this knowledge better. So each and everything in this type of business that needs a proper way of understanding by means of common network. We have to train two people, our successors and predecessors. If it is agricultural product or any commodity extracted, that predecessor, they don't have any training. Our successors, consumers, they have no training. They are just taken away by advertisements and presentations. I used to say advertisement is the skill of marketing, the idiocy and praise of the public. I used to define it always. Even for the great knowledgeable people, you know that somebody drinks boost and they accomplishes something in cricket or in industrialization or in gymnastics. Even a common LKG student, he can know that it is impossible by just boost, or it may be even dangerous to his performance. Boost may not be salubrious at all. Even it is known to us, then why it is it very much essential for people to drink boost to develop their energy? Is it indispensable? Not like that. Then what happens in the society? Their marketing proportion or their growth rate or sustenance, is it being developed or not? Yes, it is being developed. So even though the most knowledgeable person, he will have a spark of idiocy. It is the duty of the advertisement to create a hallucinated figure, to blow up radiantly the spirit or spark of that idiocy as a blazing fire, and to utilize the person's necessity, emergency, scarcity, their need, basic need, and also the craze. This is the five instincts, and business is nothing but marketing these five instincts. And these advertisements and presentations have totally nullified the rational thinking of human beings, by which the consumers, they are taught only to put cases on consumer courts. They have not been properly taught the process of designing their commodities, demanding the quality of commodities and getting them. So you are all mediators. Whoever you may be, your mediators. You are having your predecessors and successors. There must be a common integral network, CINW, by which you have to unify the people. They must not, it is not necessary that they must read BCom or BFT or BBA. It is not like that. Basic essential knowledge that is required for being a good as well as a productive beneficiary for the products that have been manufactured as a predecessor as well as a successor. It must be taught to the consumers and producers, and mediators cannot develop at all, or only some leeches can develop in such a very dangerous and pernicious economy. And global economy or the national development is impossible, and it is a daydream and air castle. Now let us come to the conclusion by quoting the role of spiritual energy and the utility of spiritual energy in commerce or commerce knowledge development and its exemplifications. That is the topic which is very much personal with me. Let us just now define what is spiritualism is. Spiritualism is an art of exercise. I want to distinguish the so-called spiritualism which is there marked by a person's external appearances or by executions. I want to define the real spiritualism. Spiritualism consists of both ends. For example, you celebrate something with festivity. And the same spiritualism at one end, it also teaches simplicity. You are eating various commodities sumptuously in the pretext of religious functions. The same religion that gives you the sense of fasting. Mobility, dancing and all other things are also the part of the cultural heritage of spiritualism. In the same way, it gives you silence, Maunavrata, inertia, meditation, contemplation by samadhi, yoga and dhyana. So it has a bivalent end in which it gives all the senses. If a person is very much procuring something like what in feast and fasting, I prefer feast, not fasting. In dancing and sitting quiet and meditating, I prefer dancing. In charity and acceptance from God, I prefer acceptance from God. Everything is one-way traffic. So this type of normal practice, what we call as spiritualism, is nothing but a spiritual commerce. It is a spiritual trade. So all of these people, they are capable, they can be given the certifications or graduations of MST, Master of Foreign Trade, like it is Master of Spiritual Trade, in which they are benefited by spiritualism. They are not going to give spiritualism any additive benefit, not going to distribute the benefits of spiritualism to the members of the domestic and social community. So that is known as spiritual commerce and spiritual trade. So spiritualism is a way by which, for example, everything is systematically disciplined. For example, it is measured and properly placed, and it has its own battery and all systems functioning. Likewise, the intelligence, that is the intellectual, the psychological, the physical as well as the spiritual mechanisms to be put in proper order and discipline, that structure is known as spiritualism. Spiritualism gives you a robust salubrity, it gives you a sharp, impregnably fortified mind, it gives you a very great, scintillant, resplendent, effulgent and transcendental intellect, it gives you a corrupt-free, ever-effulgent spirit. The spirit which is nothing but the embodiment of prowess and personification of eternity and divinity. That is offered by this type of knowledge in spiritualism. So unless these practices are done, just as there is an elephant and elephant has a tail and the tail will be having lot of hairs and there is a hair, that hair cannot become the elephant. Likewise, you are putting tilak or doing some homa and puja, these are all like the elephant's tail's hair. And the elephant is the real spiritualism that must be imparted as a separate workshop, as it is something between some other celebration of Golden Jubilee with a lot of other programs. It is our time to give you a demo piece or a small sample soap by which you can just experience the greatness of it. By means of it, there is also a sample offering in commodities, wherein by the people take that and having come to know about the efficacy of the product, they go after it, they experience it with the fullest attention and attitude. That is to be taken later. Then the benefit of spiritualism is in three things. Majorly it is in three things. One is intuitive knowledge. If there is a spiritual practice, you will be having intuitive knowledge. And number two, you will be having balance. Number three, you will be having reconstructive skill. What is balance, what is intuitive and reconstructive? That gives the epilogue of today's lecture. Intuitive, in lot of areas, we design something and go inside. We want to know two technologies. One is career designing technology and survival technology. You must design what you are going to become. Just as when your mango seed is planted, a person having planted the seed and having grown for 1 or 2 years, he cannot just expect a boon of planting. Because whenever you sow the seed, there is also a seed sowing ceremony, although there is a type of career designing period. That period must be properly nourished, number one. There is a spiritual possibility of making the career designed at the time of the birth of the child itself. Suvira, Arishtavira, Bhavema. Even before the birth of a child, the parents, they can take a vow, they can take a spiritual practice for getting a son of a destined or pre-designed productivity, like military services, aeronautical services, bioinformatics services, life sciences services, economical services, political and administrative services. Like that they can pre-design by prarthana. So these things are religious and ritualistic. Second thing is postnatal. When the child is born, by annaprashana, while offering the food, and by namakarana, karnavedi, aksharabhyasa, upanayana, these occasions are meant for boosting, enhancing the standards of receptivity, enhancing the standards of infallible performance for those children in all the spheres of their lives. These things are the occasions where we can instill and inculcate that particular movie. The third thing is at the time of designing their LKG, UKG, kindering level that they can do. Then there are three more options in the academic level while you are selecting your subjects in SSLC to make a base for your basement. That basement is known as your higher education. That is the second basement. Second basement is also a foundation for the third basement, which is your graduation. Then the post-graduation, doctoral, postdoctoral situations are there as the terminal foundation for your execution skill. So there is inceptive foundation, there is the inceptive foundation, consecutive foundation and terminal foundation. Inceptive foundation at the time of 10th standard. The higher secondary is the consecutive or medieval foundation. Then the third thing is your terminal foundation at the time of your graduation. The teachers, they must sit with the students and they must also give an intensified knowledge about the market and global atmosphere, and they must give the student 1 week time for designing their career, what you want to be. To get that, you see, you are going for a shopping. You know what you want to have, how much you want to have for getting what you want to have, and how much is there in which form. Either it is credit form, or is a person knowable or approachable for any credit facilities, or you are having some limitation due to which you can reduce the quantity or quality, any compromise possible. So everything is governed inside your mind prudentially before going for purchase. For knowledge purchase, acquisition and marketing also, we must have three questions and answers. What you want to become, number one. What are the requisites for those eligibility? Number two, what you have and where you are lacking, and how to procure those things which are there in insufficiency or inefficiency inside you. Unless a person writes a clear essay and prepare himself for that, then life is just mere ambition unguided by the spirit of success. So for that, the intuition, the knowledge of intuition that is given by the spiritualism that prevents loss. There are two profits which I want to say. Number one is getting loss itself is loss. Not getting profit is also loss. And in profit, getting profit is profit, not getting loss also is a profit. It is in disguise. Likewise, the intuitive skill of spiritual realization will make you feel, not out of imagination. Three things give institution like our intuition like institutions are there. There are three things. In divine insight, we will get some messages. If you are having imagination, fertile imagination, hallucination and schizophrenia, you will get lot of things like that. The third thing is, if you are having a fear, a phobia towards something and sense of ambiguity, you will get lot of things. And in a clear, transparent mind only, just as a transparent surface of water reflects the inner ingredients, likewise the inner soul's craving or its admonishment can be made visible only by a transparent mind. That intuition can only be provided by spiritual practice. You are having only your determination, yes, I will win. That is your determination. Merely your determination cannot win. That's what today we have been discussing with Goswami ji. Your life is governed by 80% invisible factors. Whatever you are deciding, political instability, market instability, then communal clash, then natural and man-made disasters like war even, then the global economical status variation, geopolitical trend, lot of things govern your business and nature and job. Dollar economy, it was totally degraded and more than 350 companies at Tirupur, they were closed with double seal and locks with waxed ceilings, they have been closed in just 48 hours. So unless you know about the invisible factors that guide you, visible factors are just 20 to 25%. That is governed only by an intuitive thing. We cannot say that we can get everything, but we will see that we won't lose anything. We will have a preventive instinct by means of our intuitive skill given by God. That is number one. Number two, balancing. God does not only teach you how to get wealth, He teaches you how to lead a continuously simple and incessantly harmonious life in spite of insufficiency and paucity. That is divinity. It is not only the process of bringing wealth, and how to make yourself comfortable in profitable in poverty itself. That is our converting or extracting. Just as somebody used to say, he will extract even juice from a stone. He is such a capable one. Likewise, extracting profitability, contentment, happiness and harmony even from distress, even from disharmony, even by contrary circumstances. That is a divine art. That is the art of divinity. That can be given by balance. Third thing is reconstructive. Even if you are fallen down, you will not be smashed into pieces, you will not be smashed into pieces, you will not be smashed into fragments and particles. Like the phoenix, you will be having your own life. You will be having re-emergence. These three benefits are given by spiritual practices. Once we have to see that how a person of religious belief, how a person of different religious belief, how a person of all religious beliefs, how a person having no religious belief, they can practice these intellectual exercises for getting the instincts of intuition, reconstruction and balancing that we can detailedly discuss in an elucidative lecture whenever time permits. And I am very much happy to see the students. They are going to be the pillars of tomorrow, and more than the recreation, creativity is also there. Why you have to be recreative? Because to be recreative, it is known as recreative or recreation. Why these things are known as, you know that media, entertainment, everything is there. Those things are named as recreation. Why they are named as recreation? A person who is creative, continuously engaged in the process of a creative work, he will have a brain heat, or he will have a physical tiredness. He will have an exhausted nature of his resources. For the person to recharge and boost himself, he needs a system of relaxing himself with things which are very palatable, which are very tasteable, relishable, rejoiceable and admirable. On these grounds he takes some time and he boosts himself with more energy to perform more. That is why these things are known as recreation. If a person has jumped inside the well, you can also jump, and you must jump also. But you must not reside with the person inside the well, you must bring him up. Likewise, whenever your challenges, whenever your talents are degradable or degraded inside, you must get inside a recreative process to bring it up. You must not reside with the recreation itself. So I believe that you will have a maintainable proportion between recreativity, creativity, family, society, education and spiritualism, and lead a very prosperous life here and there with the inexhaustible benedictory shower of the ultimate reality of the world. Narayana, Narayana, Narayana.